Hello, Women of Consciousness audience. This is Pam, and it has definitely been a few months, and I would say long and far in between the episodes that I recorded over the past year. I think maybe I've only done like four or five of them. Um, and today is kind of definitely my last one, and that's why I'm coming back to just kind of make this closing kind of storytelling chapter and an announcement for moving forward. So there's been a lot of a lot of change and transition since this whole world opened up for me. And first thing, I really just want to say thank you for the journey to the universe, to Natalie, for Women of Consciousness, the what we created, what started at the end of our master's degree program, and really was this full force of nature that kind of came out of nowhere into my life and aligned me with new people and new experiences. And so I have so much just gratitude for the whole journey. And that's why I've been really feeling called for weeks, well, months, I guess, to close this out. But I really wanted to wait for all of the pieces to shift and fall into place, to have things, being finalized. I don't want to put out my intentions and say what I'm doing and all of this, and then things can fall apart. Things don't always have a way of working out the way that we hope or expect. And the journey that I've been on has been so profound. It's been the biggest profound experiences of my life have definitely taken place in the last, oh gosh, just decade. But I would say at least like 2 to 3 years, specifically. Um, it's been really, really very profound. And so I just really wanted to take a minute and reflect on this story, this whole story of this podcast of Women of Consciousness. Um, Natalie had started this channel. Spirit and Coffee was the original name, and I think she did about 3 or 4 years of just every day or quite often at times. And she was solo, right? It was something she created. And then we met in our master's program of consciousness and transformative studies, psychology school. And it was a really interesting experience in my time of life. I feel like we were all kind of solo and coming into community and trying to figure out how we were changing the world, how we were changing ourselves, what this bigger vision for everything was. And as our, years together kind of was wrapping up, Natalie was trying to start an alumni association that, for a minute she was president, I was vice president of that. And we just couldn't really get our peers on board. And, it just didn't really take off. I think the current students maybe have something that they managed from the seeds that we planted, which is just really beautiful. Um, and so it kind of just led me and Natalie to collaborating from, a peer group environment to like having these Zoom calls of connection and support. And it was really like, she wanted to go in business. She was a business background and I was not. And she had been looking, for a new business partner. She had experienced several and I had not. So I kind of just spoke up and I was like, why don't we, do something? I would love to figure out this venture with you. And when I look back, it was such a beautiful alignment of the Libra Aries year and a half of eclipses. And so like Natalie and I really fell into that cycle of energy, right? Like we aligned perfectly for like relationship building, business building. In that point of my life, I was making a lot of connections with a lot of new people, deepening those connections. I did, I had them on as podcast guests, as very open about the spirituality and my life with like, following into retreats in the psychedelic space. And Natalie was very open about she was going for her PhD and wanting to start like a kung fu school. Um, so that year and a half really served us with Women of Consciousness. We would meet and we would connect. We would, do the podcast for quite a while. We were very stable and steady. And listening to those, oh my gosh, like first of all, some of them are just so cringe. I wouldn't ever listen to them again personally because I'm not that person. I'm not that girl, that woman anymore. Um, and I needed Natalie. I so needed Natalie, and I so needed this opportunity to be able to find new aspects of myself, new skills, new interests, new passions, to have a space to like create and put together, this new beginning and learning to collaborate with other people, right? Really learning, to build a structure with somebody else. And I will say, Natalie and I, one story narrative that came up very early on, that we both managed to shift right out of and completely close that narrative for our lives was the concept of twin flames. And just the misunderstanding of what that really is, the way like it was showing up in culture at that time period and how we felt, this passion to kind of speak out on the experiences and on, our truth and whatnot. And like I said, oh my gosh, I've completely dropped any of that. Like it's shifted. It's so shifted out of my life. It just doesn't even matter anymore. It was all about conscious evolution. It was all about, awakening to soulmates and soul tribe, right? These soul connections of alignment of people from past lives and reincarnations and clearing karma. And so people come in for a time and a season and a blessing and a reason and a lesson, initiation, rite of passage, all of that. And I will say the one thing, like I was hurt when Natalie and I, like our path just shifted. I would say again, it shifted out with eclipse energy. Like she went on to her master's program and I had other things aligning for me in my own life personally. And like I started a whole new job in the matrix. Um, After trying to completely like shift out of the matrix and realize like I can't just go into like a 5D world. I have to be straddling, I guess. I straddle the realms, I straddle the worlds, and that's my place. I understand that now deeply, and I can't turn my back on one. I have to navigate them all in a complete integrated embodiment. And I have, and I do. And so I really came from a place of looking for deep connections with people on this journey of life. Um, I've always been a hermit, isolation, family, like my home, just like my home, home body, focusing on my children. And then I realized, like every time I went out into the world, it was a very like I had a lot of wounds. I had a lot of trauma. I talked about those things in past episodes. And again, those aren't stories of my life anymore, and I'm not going to keep talking about them. I let them go. Um, but I will say that I have had a greater understanding of psychology of human nature, the psychology and the structure of consciousness itself. So it's not even about like this me as a person individually or somebody else. It's really about like the whole, that whole integrated oneness of the structure and seeing how we all play a role in that, how we all have a divine part in that. And so this business was a co-creation through the divine that me and Natalie were able, to channel. We were very much the yin yang. She was this very, dominant kind of masculine energy who complemented and helped my wounded masculine grow and rise. And I know it was vice versa that my open and like flourishing, healed feminine helped in a moment of time awaken her feminine a little bit more. And that was really beautiful. And I've seen how that has played out in a lot of my relationship dynamics with people as part of soul contracts, just attracting like the polar opposite and seeing how like we mirror this sameness, this oneness, like being the same person but in different bodies. And maybe somebody is more of a darker shadow aspect, and then somebody is more of a potential, right, of a life purpose, and then somebody else is more of like the moment now. So I've had so many different relationships and connections mirror back to me, my evolutionary stages of conscious development as well as ego dissolution and rebirth. And then at some point, psychedelics came into the picture. And again, I did a lot of podcasts on that previously and spoke about that. And so that kind of leads me to the current, transition in my life. One that I didn't plan for, right? I think sometimes we have hopes and goals. We have these daydreams, we have these fantasies, we have these things that are deep desire of what we want to have for a life experience. And we can push them aside, we can ignore them, you know what I mean? Or we can go after them with such ambition and drive. And I've had those for sure. But it's like this life path of plant medicine and healing is so archetypal and ancient. And it is what has been my own awakening and my own remembering on such deep, deep psychological and cellular levels. And so I'm blessed. I'm truly, truly very blessed. I'm very, very grateful. I'm in the most amazing place in my life that I have ever been in. Um, I I miss this podcast. I miss what Natalie and I were creating, but that vision and that collaboration truly planted a seed within me, a seed that didn't exist before Natalie, a vision of community, of coming together on this land and sharing space and sharing life and sharing knowledge and wisdom and gifts, things that we talked about privately, things that we talked about, with other people, things that we talked about in the podcast episodes. And so as a few years have gone by now, and I'm sitting with all of this transformation and this growth that I've undergone, and, I would say if I'm blessed enough, I'm definitely at the halfway point of life. And I pray for another 40 years of healthy lifestyle. I'm doing the best that I can for that. And so looking ahead, it's like, what am I creating? What is that legacy? Like, what is that vision? Because the people that I aligned with, the people that I thought were soul tribe and going to be in my life forever, um, they came and they went, they came and they went with the eclipses. And some are easy to let go of. Some I saw the true colors, right, of narcissism and jealousy, and there really is a truth to this 3D darkness, low vibrational energy that traps, right, traps souls. It like sucks the life force. Like energy vampires, right? Like if you've ever been drained by another person in that instance, like how like your light goes out. We give up our hopes and our dreams, listening to the negativity of others, right? There's like this heavy energy that almost like sucks and pulls us into the depths of mud. And it's like you can get stuck there, you can stay there, you can let it corrode your light and your system and your whole energy field, and you can become this tainted kind of entity, and I see that a lot in the world where people have just such blocked chakras and just so much trauma wounds, life experiences, that just were negative and hurtful, right? Because it is a pendulum that swings both ways, and you have to know the lows to know the highs, and you have to be able to integrate it all and come, back to this balance of recognizing a truth of what it was an experience, right? And instead, we seem to get hung up on the pain, the betrayal, the loss. Um, and so I've completely learned to let people go, like walk away from them, knowing when it's not healthy, knowing when it's toxic, when I have, for sure been a part of that energy years ago. And then I would say more recently, it was this realization of this like mild, like unconscious pattern of people pleasing, which we all have, right? There are, again, coming back to like psychology and like consciousness and the way like humans are built and wired. We all have these emotions, these thoughts, these feelings, they're all vibrational frequencies that we tap into, guilt and shame and envy, whatever, greed, like any of that stuff. Joy, happiness, peace, right? Those are all higher vibrational. And so for a while, I would pick up on the person. Um, I'd feel that uncomfortableness, right? Like specifically another like female that I ignored. I ignored that uncomfortability that she gave off towards me until, and I still tried. I still like thought, okay, it's me. It's maybe this like sisterhood wound, that needs to be cleared and I'll collectively like work through this. But no, like I just realized like some people are just really toxic and jealous, and they're never going to truly support you. They're going to anything you do when you grow, when you tap into like your potential, that's going to trigger them. And they're just going to like put on a fake face and be superficial and like throw daggers at your back, behind your back, underneath it all. And no, thank you. So I choose to not allow those frequencies around me. Like just no, I'm not doing it anymore. I've really, really gained knowledge and wisdom around going into more Jungian psychology and really looking at like the empath, the deeper stages of empathic I would say awakening and awareness, like, and I'm kind of going to go into Sophia consciousness with that. That's, this whole Gnostics realm. That's kind of been where I've gone in the past like 8 months. I went off of social media, last fall, and from an ego place, I thought, oh, I'm having premonitions of what's to come, and I'm gonna be the light. I'm gonna be the light for other people. And yeah, because like I know this alchemy journey and I got this, no problem. And what I didn't realize was really coming with those premonition warnings was the depths of the fall into the underworld that I had to go from the massive heartache and betrayal that I felt by someone I love deeply. And in that underworld, in those months of darkness, I went deeper into my psyche. I went deeper into the underworld. I went deeper into the cosmos. I went deeper into consciousness. I went deeper than I've ever, ever truly gone before. And I found like so much. I reclaimed so much of my soul, that light, right? I had to go. It's like I had to go into like that depth and reclaim that soul retrieval and integrate it back, right? And be reborn to who I am now. And believe me, I'm still like in shock and awe of like who I am now and who I've become. And I am in my empress mode and high priestess, and I am filled with love and joy and peace and gratitude. I have absolutely no resentment, no hatred. I tapped into that for a minute. Because that's how you, right? You have to claim your darkness. You have to integrate your darkness. But the key is not to live there. The key is not to lash out and treat other people and allow that darkness to erode your soul and your light. And it's hard. It's hard when it's that, oh man, it crushes. It crushes. It's like being in the bottom of the ocean. I mean, like 50,000 feet down, like at the depths of the heart of the ocean where you're just all that pressure. Um, there's, there's no breath, there's no life force, but you can't give up. Your soul, there's a resiliency, there's a determination that won't allow you. So your ego just dies and dies and dies. And that's okay because all of the ego was my own illusions. It was my own blocks that I created. It was not wanting to see the truth, even though like there was moments of truth that people showed. And it was like, no, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, I'm not going to speak up because I don't want to cause conflict. I don't want to lose this moment, right? I'm going to people please my way through this situation or maybe just walk on eggshells, maybe just hold that anxiety in. And it was getting to the point where, I mean, I had a lot in the past year come up. I cleared out the core wound of right, if you think of like our bodies almost being like computer programs, right? Like our DNA and the way that we're structured and wired in our brains. It's like we are like our own computer programming through archetypes and through like astrological elements and energies, right? Vibrational frequencies. And so when you start going into the core of who you are and looking at how you're programmed, how you're wired, what are your archetypes, what are your narratives, what are your stories? Okay, and now how did your ego really sense all of this energy and engage with it and create with it, right? Because we create our reality. We create our reality. Simple as that. So people are meant to come in and teach us lessons, and we can hold on to them and hold on to attachments and hold on to our idea of what this person was supposed to do for our life, what this person, how they were supposed to stick around or show up, or, all of these things. You know, I'll say this, extreme narcissists will not take accountability for their actions. So right there, if you're with people in your life that will not ever take accountability, I would walk away from that. Um, because that's just always going to lead to more toxic cycles. Like people need to be able to take accountability for their actions, for their triggers, for their behaviors, for their choices and make amends to that, change, transform from that. Because I'll tell you, like every day it's a choice. It's a choice when you wake up. The seasons all flow in a day. We wake up with a new life, a new rebirth, By afternoon, it's like this fresh, from spring to summer, we're blossoming by afternoon. And then come, the evening, it's like fall, where, we're settling in, we're tired or relaxing. And then when we go to sleep at night, it's like our death, it's our winter. Our ego has just shed its day while our consciousness is, doing the activity in the brain of like wiping away memories, clearing away things in our dreams, and then you're born again the next day. Like you can make the conscious choice to shift your life and reality and see that things aren't happening like as an attack against you. It's all about how you're perceiving the world and how you're engaging with the world because the world is co-creating with you and for you. Um, and that's the truth. Like that is the conscious structural truth. And it's beautiful. And so when you get out of a societal way of like, I just have to do and be this and I have to do and do and do, and you recognize your true nature, and you get in tune with the seasons and the cycles, and you recognize this masculine and this feminine flow state of being and doing, and this masculine, that sets a container and is productive and provides and sets boundaries, and this feminine that creates, right? And so I've been really integrating this structure and living from this conscious structure of this balance, feminine and masculine, that's allowed my inner child to emerge feeling safe and loved and playful. And so now I can experience life from places of play and adventure and joy that were always weighed down previously because of my expectations of other people, my hopes of other people, my outcomes of situations that I wanted. And so when I learned to just let go of absolutely every single person and every single situation and every single outcome or hope that I had for my life, and I completely shut away from the world because it was too much. It was just getting to be way too much with the state of the United States and the world. And I mean, this was in October of last year when I retreated off of social media and I shut down the accounts and I just haven't engaged with anything. Um, I think I did one podcast around New Year's because again, I was feeling inspired and I really, there was a lot of energy shifting at that time and I went through a portal and into this new timeline that I'm in now. And so I really want to speak my truth and I want to, put out this wisdom because that was what this whole channel was about. It was about us coming together and sharing this deeper wisdom that we had of this conscious structure and these patterns and these relationships and this deeper meaning of like this life experience, and so it's been really, really an incredible, beautiful journey, and I'm deeply grateful. um and I can feel the last little bit of the thread of the past kind of weaving itself out as I'm downloading and channeling and creating and weaving in the future that's aligning. And I really am coming from a place of conscious manifestation and knowing my true intentions for every choice and decision and every action that I take and I make, knowing exactly where my energy is being outstreamed, knowing exactly what my energy is receiving and open to, and where I'm very protected and very, I wouldn't say walled off, but my aura is very protected by a beautiful spirit team and angels. And I know I'm deeply protected. So energies aren't going to be able to get to me. And I've worked really hard to make it that way. And I maintain that every day through my own spiritual practices and my own connection to the divine. So I'm greatly, greatly blessed because the collective consciousness right now is just in chaos. And if you're not protecting yourself from that, then you're definitely impacted by that. So if you're really feeling exhausted and drained and tired, having, really stress and bodily health issues, I'd really look at the energy in your environment and the people you're around, what you're taking in for information. And I would really say go into a detox and a cleanse of energy. Being able to do that, I realized, more deeply my true state of Sophia consciousness as an empath and recognizing, you know, certain people that I thought I loved or was in connection with was really only myself mirroring back. It was this love that I had for life. It wasn't so much, these connections or this community or whatnot. Because a lot of times there was things that felt off. There were things that felt uncomfortable. There were things that like I didn't receive. I never was fully receiving what I was giving out. And so having this eye-opening moment to then balance and recognizing like, okay, maybe I am intense. I have big energy. And that was eye-opening for me. And I was able to cut cords and pull my energy back into my own container and not, let it leak out, not let it hit those other people because I recognized from that vibrational frequency, right, that current, what they were picking up from me was honestly subconscious stuff that I didn't even know was there. Like, that like I remember finding at one point in my healing this like very, very mild undercurrent of a little bit of like desperation for this connection to work out, for this person to kind of be this role in my life. And I and it was like kind of what was left over, because it wasn't initially triggered or started by this person. Um they were just a continuation of the journey, and it was a new shift in what I wanted to create, right? I wanted to create something new. But once I cleared that out of the frequency, once I realized the core wound and cleared that, and found these other lingering things, it all shifted, and I was able to find the core seed. And the core seed, that is our purpose. That is our absolute purpose. That's our mission, right? That's the light workers. Anyone who I guess would call themselves a light worker or like a star being, like whatever. Like we feel like we came here from a different place, that we're ancient, that we're unique, right? We have these special gifts and qualities that aren't really respected or seen fully. They're not appreciated, right, by the world around us, and so we often deny them, and we often reject them. We often don't fully understand our gifts and our purpose. And so I would say, again, going into your psyche and finding, that core wound and clearing your core wound. And it usually deals with attachment theory. And so looking at trauma and attachment and developmental trauma, like that really allowed me to understand this emotional unavailability that I was attracting in people, right? That's why there was an imbalance in the giving and receiving. And so once I could really shift my eye of awareness from one perspective. I'm like the hangman. Anyone knows tarot, right? I feel like at this point I could just start a rope factory because I just live from the hanged man perspective. Um, but it was like just turning the eye of consciousness a little bit the other way and like, oh, okay, now I see it. Now this clicks. And it was enough that it was like getting deeper to the root, and it was very profound. And clearing the core wound allowed the core seed to be seen months, like I'd say maybe like 6 months later. Because everything comes right in these stages. You have to clear away things, and new things come in. You have to clear away and then new things come in. Right now I've been in a massive cycle for 8 months to a year of really cleaning out, expanding my own bodily vessel container of energy, but as well as like my home environment and my life, the people, the places, everything around it. Everything is shift. I've completely aligned with new friendships, new partnerships in business, new collaborations. And so that's really why I'm coming on here too, to kind of talk about that for a minute, because it does tie in, it does integrate. And so this winter, as I was going through this deep metamorphosis of isolation and hermit and hanged man energy and rising in this empress energy, I went in initiation through this beautiful opportunity that came, I would say, by again co-creation of the universe and the divine and my ancestors. It was not something I sought out. It was an opportunity because I was open to receiving, right? Because I surrendered and I let go and I cleared away any expectations and I just allowed for unknown possibilities and the mystery of the universe to align for my greater good and my highest potential. I was gifted the experience and the initiation path of becoming a psychedelic church minister. I'm going to applaud for myself, yes, because I am so proud and I am so grateful and so blessed. And it was months and months of showing up and doing work, and it had its own, challenges, and I put myself through, my own at home mushroom ceremonies, in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. So I, was undergoing my own like deep initiation on this journey while coming together with the cohort and being like a team and learning and growing, and giving back my experience and my expertise to the space. I've started back in January, and it's been very successful. I feel so far. It's been a slow start and wonderful, but I also started a Zoom once a month for women facilitators in the psychedelic community. Um, so that's been lovely to be able to create and hold that space for these beautiful women, and just being able to like all of us bring our shared knowledge, wisdom, lived experience, dedication, passion, purpose, and support each other, collaborate with each other, be able to have deep and meaningful conversations around this work that chose us. And so with the church has already been well established. It's Church of Our Earth. They have a website, churchofourearth.com. Donna is the founder. I'm pretty sure she shares her story on there. Um, our sacrament is psilocybin, so we work with functional mushrooms as well as psychedelic mushrooms. And so Level is another company that does the sacrament that our members are able to get chocolates and gummies and teas and whatnot. So that's really beautiful. I'm just yeah, I'm grateful for this opportunity to align. Um, I believe that the church is in New England. It's a pagan and Taoist kind of belief, but we don't force anyone to have any kind of religious beliefs. It's just about honoring the earth and celebrating the earth and meeting people where they're at on their own healing journey. Um, and so as I was starting this path, because I didn't seek it, I didn't understand fully the vision, right? I didn't know, like, okay, I'm going to become a minister. All right, what does that mean? What does that look like? What am I doing with this? Here's a bunch of other people, right, that are also in this same program and becoming, microdosing coaches or ministers as well. Um, and so it helped me kind of find my way even more by sitting with that and looking at what I wanted to create. And so this is where I talk about like the seeds that me and Natalie kind of were planting and nourishing and growing and developing. Like I'm still in my empress mode in that garden. Um, I'm just maintaining the garden with different people, I guess now, and much more cautious and aware of who's at the gateway and who gets to come in and who can stay and is not allowed in the gateway of my kingdom. Because not everyone has a place here, and that's okay. Um, but in the meantime, it is about community. And it is about creating a beautiful space for people on this path because this is a unique path. And psychedelics, oh man, there's so much. I mean, that in itself is like so many different episodes. I've learned so much in hindsight, looking back at the environment that I was in and how that aligned connections. And so my biggest takeaway is education, integration. Um, Again, where we are culturally, the way that we are shifting and evolving, the changes that are, just happening with pharmaceuticals and, the plant medicines, the way laws, are kind of being shifted on state and federal levels. And, all of these things are coming up with, retreat centers or you know, um, maybe more hospital clinical settings that are coming on board. there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of possibilities. But with that, there's also a lot of darker energy. There's a lot of low vibrational energy in this space. And protecting yourself truly deeply is my biggest priority, to protect myself and protect my loved ones and protect like what I'm creating. And so I don't feel like the money thing really gets to me. The fact that people are charging like thousands of dollars, for like mushroom retreats or, ayahuasca retreats, um, it just doesn't sit with me, like that people are cashing in. There's a real lack of integrity from facilitators. And then some there isn't. Some have the integrity. Some really are rising. They're doing the shadow work. They're doing the integration. They're, walking the walk. And I can honestly say I am that person, and I know that, and I feel that integrity and living with intention, conscious intention of what, like, just what I'm creating. That's the life that every day is my perspective. And I want to create my own branch, and I'm still kind of working out the details. But it is going to be, I'm going to just abbreviate Church of Our Earth. So it's COOE, Temple of Sophia. I really want it to be distinguished, and Temple of Sophia is definitely what came to me from a download. And I'm very grateful. So I'm starting out slow. I'm gonna close out, this podcast. I'm not gonna do any more episodes with Women of Consciousness. This is the final one. Just really wrapping up our narrative, wrapping up. We started, it was Natalie's channel, so it's up to her to decide what she does with all of this creative art that we've put out. And I am just gonna start with the temple, whatever, Temple of Sophia. I'm gonna start those seeds. So I started a Facebook page just the other day, because slow and steady, like I just kind of opened up that. I gotta find the right social media platform for like the podcast stuff. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do yet, because I'm not rushing any of it. I know, like, this is the legacy. This is the start of a next chapter of like the second half of my life. This is the legacy of where I'm going. And I really need to focus on the structure, to have a solid foundation and a really secure structure of the vision, which is my masculine energy, right? So that way my feminine can create in these spaces. So I kind of have my first event lined up for the summer solstice, which has just worked out so beautifully. We're doing this, 4-hour daytime event to honor the year of the fire horse, and the power of the sun on the solstice. And I mean, it was supposed to be just a small thing. It's, literally in my friend's backyard. And we have all these facilitators, our friends, and community members that are coming, and more people want to be a part of it. And we've had to say no, because it's like turning into like a holistic fair now. So like eventually we're gonna have to really create a venue. But then, we're doing this beautiful celebration, more private, for other people. And so I'm really excited. A lot of that, my time and energy, my focus has been on, these new environments that I'm creating, that are really a space of joy and fun, giving back, right? Giving back. So everything's going to be like free entry, and then just donation based. If other facilitators want to charge, like, that's their thing. But I know I'm going to do card readings, and I'm just going to keep that donation based. When I work as the minister, like working with client members, for microdosing, for coaching, I'm willing to do private ceremonies. I'm going to do some small retreat ceremonies in the future, but very not exclusive, but intentional to who I include into that space, making sure that every energy, every person is there for the right reasons and is a right fit, knowing that the people that are showing up are really truly showing up for themselves, are holding themselves accountable, have a support system, have like some self-empowerment. And because I can, you know what I mean, I want to be able to be that support system. I want to be able to help with that coaching, that alchemy. Um, I had a integration workbook that I wrote with the previous retreat church that I was with, as an integration coach there. And this past winter, I edited that. I revised it like a 2.0 version and completely like separated that church energy from the structure of the workbook. And I added a lot more like new sections into it, like a whole body mapping section. So I really focused on the workbook. I think it's like 109 pages that I created. But that's what I want to be able, to offer to the members that I work with. Here we can do this workbook. I'm here to support you. I'm here to guide you because I'm a guide, saying a minister and saying church, like all these names and all these titles, like, I mean, they have to have their place because of the matrix, but how I operate and navigate, like, I don't have labels. I don't have titles. I just go by the energy of what I feel. And that can be really triggering to some people because words and labels, the ego needs that identification. Um, but it's really just recognizing this purpose, this potential of why I'm truly here. And I'm truly here because I'm going into the underworld. I'm going into the psyche. I'm studying consciousness. Like you know what I mean? Every single day I'm living from a consciously awake and aware place. I've evolved. I've healed. I've transformed. I came out of, core wounds, um, developed trauma. Like, I had PTSD, I had a lot of things. And the biggest realization I had from this past winter's like betrayal and heartache when I was, in that depth of darkness, deciding how to heal and how to recover and how to be my authentic true self and how to not allow hatred and vengeance and any of that kind of another person's wounds, right? Because wounded people hurt people, right? So it was recognizing this truth of another being and seeing their depths of wounded darkness and how they chose to navigate. And then recognizing, like, yeah, you know what? I did do that maybe like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when I was coming out of my marriage, and a very traumatic divorce experience, a very traumatic marriage experience. Oh gosh. But it was recognizing, and that's where the empathy and the compassion comes in. It's like, okay, like I can recognize you're trying to live your life, you're a hurt person and you hurt me. Um, and I'm gonna rise above, right? I'm gonna rise above, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna do what I need to do to move on with my life, and I'm not gonna give you any of my light. I'm not gonna give you any of my soul. Um, you don't get to take that from me. So hopefully I can just, keep just keep moving forward with the wisdom and the knowledge, sharing that in the ways that I know how to share that through the classes, through the spaces. So I'm starting integration for the members of the church, coming up on June 2nd. So that's like my newest venture. We'll meet bi-weekly. So I would, so if there's any members that are listening to this of Church of Our Earth, or if maybe you hear this and you want to go check it out and it kind of looks like something in alignment with you, it's like, it's a free membership. There's other people involved. There's other things happening. Like I said, I'm just starting a branch. I'm starting my own, kind of my own way, to create and give back. I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of passion. And so at least just doing like the podcast, I want to get up and get podcasts going. I want to be able to get like a social media presence going. But I'm not rushing. I'm not pushing myself to do any of it. Like I'm still clearing out the old while welcoming in the new, and the foundation, the structure is the most important so that it lasts, so that it's stable. Um, and I think the most beautiful thing is that I know like I know who I am. Like I truly have cut out all the noise and all the distractions and any energy cords from any other person. I had to, cut cords, remove cords. There was multiple points where it felt like being entangled in a spider web that was suffocating me. And I didn't know my true identity for a minute. It was like, who am I really? Um, but it was from an ego place and that's why ego dies. That's why there's the ego dissolution in levels and layers, time and time and time and time again. And each time that happens, the higher self, the I am presence, right? This true consciousness um drops in, integrates, right? They become one, and then you navigate from this more a higher self of authenticity and integrity. I would say integrity and hypocrisy were the two key themes that helped me align, because I was recognizing the hypocrisy in the people around me that turned into drama and finger pointing and blaming others and not taking accountability for their own shadows, their own wounds, their own ego shit. I didn't want to be around hypocrites. And to me, it was the integrity of my heart. It's like in the center, right? The center of our chest, the center of our belly, where the lower chakras and the upper chakras all like kind of unite around like the cup, the holy grail within the high heart chakra. So there's like this integration and this fullness, and there's this completedness now. Like I'm not chasing anything external, I'm not seeking anything external. I know exactly who I am. I understand why people came and went, what those paths were for, what those lessons were for. I'm so blessed and so truly grateful. And I just hope that for other people, like more than anything, it's sharing the experiences and the wisdom, because storytelling, um, myth, right? Our narratives are so important. The way we view ourselves, the way we view the people around us, the way we view our world. It is so extremely important because it creates your reality, which therefore creates your own suffering, your own hell on earth, or your own peace and your own heaven on earth. It's really up to you to decide which vibrational frequency you want to live in and be in. But because people are too afraid to be alone, because people are too afraid to sit with themselves, to go within, to cut out distractions, like they tolerate the noise, they tolerate the pain, they tolerate the suffering. They just make excuses for it. They just, accept it. But really, truly, when we hold others accountable for their shit and say, I'm not going to be treated that way. I'm not going to live my life that way. I'm not going to engage that way. We put up boundaries. We really like shine in our self-worth and our ambitions and our goals. And we know what we're here to do. And we don't let people deter us or tell us, we're less than, or, you know, um, everything really begins to shift, and you take back this power and this authenticity and this authority of your life, because there was a moment, and this is also like really true of like why Natalie and I came together. Like she helped me empower myself in a way where I was still like giving power away to other people, where I really thought other people had a say in my life. They had a say in the relationships. They had a say in what happened to me, and they didn't. The only say was my say. Like, you know what I mean? The only real power was in how I chose to see them and how I chose to engage in them and react to them. And by saying like no, I'm done, and walking away and choosing myself every time, because that's really what it came down to, loving myself, choosing myself, walking in alignment of integrity, and dismissing hypocrisy from, that's what shifted everything. And I'm grateful that all those people have come and gone. And I'm truly grateful that I will never, ever see the majority of some of them again. Like, just that's the biggest blessing. And I wish them the best. Again, I do. I'm sure there's probably gonna be a couple of people that will listen to this just because of that energy that has kind of followed and been drawn to me, that I've had to overcome. And that's fine. You're entitled to do you, but just know this, like, I forgive you and I forgive myself, more importantly. And I understand why it all had to happen. And I'm very grateful. And I wish you the best. I really send so much love to your soul that I pray that you can shift for you and that you can find the happiness that you deserve. And that's what I just really, at the end of the day, want for everybody. So through psychedelics, Church of Our Earth, and not everything is psychedelics, because let's be realistic. Like, I am not going to be doing mushrooms like every day. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Um, but I am a psychonaut. I will absolutely I will use that label. I am a psychonaut, because I know how to go into the depths and the realms of conscious frequencies, whether they're lower or higher. That's why I navigate and straddle all the realms. And so you're damn straight. Like, I'm going to keep gaining wisdom and clarity, and I'm going to give that back as my gift to humanity. So this is just the closing chapter of one small timeline of a moment in my life that I'm blessed and grateful for. And I hope, if anything, it leaves a seed for you, the listener. Whatever it needs to be, whatever resonated with you, whatever sits with you at the end of this, nourish your seed. Allow inspiration, to come into your life. Allow yourself to wake up each morning reborn, and really understand deeply, like, your role in the collective energy, your role in the world, what you're putting out for energy, what you're receiving in for energy, your narrative you're telling yourself. And if just, I pray that people can come more into healing and more self-acceptance and more love, because it is true. If we heal ourselves, we are healing the world. So that's what I really, really just continue to tap into and pray for. And that love, that joy, that peace. I am now this clear vessel, that is what I put out into the collective every day. And I'm so blessed and grateful that I am able to vibrate at an authentic, high vibrational light, because I'm a star shining. And I have so much love for my life and so much love for this world. And that's what I'm carrying forward. That's the place I'm creating from now. And there is no failure. There truly isn't. There's only success. There's only learning. There's experiences. And so everything is just so beautifully wrapped up. And I'm just, yeah, I'm excited. I don't know what's coming next to the furthest extent. I feel certain energies. I'm ready for my divine counterpart. I have definitely been, intentionally clearing energy and manifesting that with intention. Because again, I've been blessed with downloads of a greater mission and a greater vision beyond an ego perspective of the true nature of divine counterparts. And that excites me. That fills me with so much love and joy and passion. And it truly excites me, because that is going to continue to revolutionize this paradigm, right? As the 3D is crumbling and as a new frequency is shifting and being woven into the collective. And so that's what I'm manifesting. I'm recognizing I am a vessel of love. I am an angel of love. I am, a being of love and light. And that is my true frequency. I'm here to shine from love and joy and peace. I'm here, to enjoy life. Um, and it's a shame that I've seen so many people get stuck in the depths of the darkness. And so I'm just here to pass on the wisdom of what I've gained. So hopefully others will be inspired to like do the alchemy. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's lonely. It's isolating. If you don't have a good support system, it can be disastrous and dangerous. The ego dissolution, disidentification. I mean, it can cause psychosis. So that's why I know I'm a strong guide to help others on this journey find their true self. And I'm excited. I'm excited for those alignments with the people that I can, share more wisdom with, help them, temporarily on their journey for a moment while aligning with longer lasting soul tribe that I'm really building community with and creating these events and yeah, so event planning and organizing, like I love it. I'm so excited to be in this energy field now and like I really do want to buy land. That is a goal. And get, this actual like retreat energy up and going. And I don't, yeah, and I just want to be fair about it and do it donation based, doing it, where people are at. So I don't know, like a lot to come for sure. Thanks for, if you stuck with me to the end, thank you so much for your time, your energy. I really just wanted to give it justice to closing out this narrative, this timeline, really honoring it because there's so much beauty here. There was so much experience and life and passion that went into women of consciousness. And it elevated me and it ascended me. And it's always going to be, the special place in my heart for sure. But it's time to move on now. It's time for me to close it, say goodbye, thank you. And Church of our Earth, Temple of Sophia. Yeah, that's the next chapter. So we'll see what comes. Thank you so much, and blessed be.